Hello and welcome to Carlos Castaneda, the Wheel of Time, the wisdom of the shamans of ancient Mexico. I'm going to be interpreting quotes from the book A Separate Reality. So these quotes are from Don Juan. Nothing being more important than anything else, a warrior chooses any act and acts it out as if it mattered to him. His controlled folly makes him say that what he does matters and makes him act as if it did, and yet he knows that it doesn't. So, when he fulfills his acts, he retreats in peace, and whether his acts were good or bad, or worked or didn't, is in no way part of his concern. I think what Don Juan is trying to say here is a warrior's acts flow from the spirit, and they flow from one act to another. And once a decision is made, you don't need to be thinking about those decisions anymore. You don't need to be considering those acts, because one act moves seamlessly to the next. So whether your acts worked out as planned, you're unconcerned about it because you simply act from where you are in the present moment. You're not attached to outcomes. You're able to move with the flow. So you don't need to be attached to goals, to the way things are expected to turn out. A warrior has to flow without expectations. It doesn't mean he doesn't plan anything, but that he's not burdened with expectations, because what turns out might be much better than what you expected or planned or hoped for or decided upon, you see. So once a warrior's fulfilled his acts, he retreats in peace. Doesn't need to be concerned. He's at the point of no concern. To be unconcerned is a modus operandi of the warrior. And because his controlled folly convinces him that his acts matter, even though deep down he knows that they don't, because of his inevitable appointment with death, then it's that controlled folly that allows him to retreat in peace. Because whether your acts worked out or didn't, whether you're concerned about them or not, doesn't matter. You know what I mean? What happens is what happens. Simply that, you see. A warrior may choose to remain totally impassive and never act and behave as if being impassive really mattered to him. He would be rightfully true at that too, because that would also be his controlled folly. So even if a warrior chooses not to act, chooses not to do, performs not doing, or simply does nothing at all, that's also part of the controlled folly. Because if you act, ultimately it doesn't matter, and if you don't act, ultimately it doesn't matter, because nothing matters in the face of one's inevitable death. But it's simply preferable to act, because acting makes life more joyful, keeps things moving, and it's part of evolution, you know. So in a sense it really does matter. It's only in the sense of the unmanifest, the unborn, the realm of emptiness, that things don't matter because nothing ever happens there. Nothing ever happened there or will happen there. Because it's the unborn, the unmanifest, emptiness. So in that sense, nothing matters. If everything returns to emptiness, then nothing matters. But in the relative world of objects and manifestation, things do matter. There's no emptiness in the life of a warrior. Everything is filled to the brim. Everything is filled to the brim, and everything is equal. Again, this is true in context. It is relatively true. Of course, the ultimate truth is the non-duality of emptiness and form. As Nagarjuna, the Buddhist scholar and monk said, emptiness and form are not two, they're non-dual. But that's not really the type of emptiness we're talking about here. In the sense of the warrior's world, everything is filled to the brim. There's no emptiness there because everything is equal in a warrior's world. All objects are the same. All outcomes are the same. All things are ultimately the same. In a world where death is stalking us, there's no need to attach any significance or importance to one object as opposed to another object, to one goal as opposed to another. See? So the world of objects is seen by the warrior as equal because all is equal in terms of energy, which is the world of the warrior, the world of the seer, the sorcerer. So, even though the ultimate truth, in the sense of in the unmanifest sense, is empty, that emptiness is also fullness. It's both. Paradoxically, it's emptiness and fullness. It's nothing filled with everything. Everything has to fit into nothing. It's like the bowl has no meaning without the empty space where it contains the contents. In the same way, the universe must contain the maximum of empty space in order to contain all of manifestation, all of creation. So, but ultimately they're not two. They're non-dual. Emptiness and form are one and the same, as being and becoming are one and the same, as eternity and time are one and the same, and therefore, in the ultimate sense, in the non-dual sense, are equal. An average man is too concerned with liking people or with being liked himself. A warrior likes, that's all. He likes whatever or whomever he wants. For the hell of it. Now, I guess your assemblage point has to shift subtly, but definitely to another position to know what Don Juan means here. But in a world of energy where everything is equal, there are still distinctions between things, objects and people, but these distinctions don't matter. So why like one thing or one person over another? Just like them. It feels better that way. Like whomever. or whatever, for the hell of it, just because you can. So, because of the average man's vanity, his ego, his insecurity, his low self-esteem, he's too concerned with being liked himself. He's always wondering, does he or she like me? Oh, what if he or she doesn't like me? What if I'm not liked? What if I'm not popular? What if my comments on Facebook are not liked? We're all too concerned with who likes us and who hates us and who doesn't like us, and you know, if we were capable of losing some of our silly self-importance, we would realise that none of it matters. And because none of it matters, our energy is free to like everything and everyone. Within reason. A warrior takes responsibility for his acts, for the most trivial of his acts. An average man acts out his thoughts and never takes responsibility for what he does. Too true. And now we live in this valueless age, this postmodern age, where nobody assumes responsibility for their acts anymore. You phone up a company to complain about your phone bill or your electric or gas bill, and they pass the complaint from one department to another. You ask a politician a question, or you ask him to take accountability for something he said 2 days ago, and he denies he even said it. Or he'll never answer a question directly. I mean, this happens every day. Nobody takes responsibility and says, you know, I did that. I'm not talking about apologising, I'm talking about accountability, taking responsibility for your acts. But we're living in times where everybody's afraid of taking responsibility. And in that way, because we don't take responsibility, we lose our power. Responsibility. The ability to respond impeccably. By taking responsibility for the most trivial of our acts, for all the small things, we take responsibility for the whole. Because the many parts make up the whole. Right? Take responsibility for everything. Because as a cosmic being, you are everything. Therefore, how could you not be responsible for everything? And if you're responsible for everything, there is no something or anything that you're not responsible for, that you cannot respond to. See? Moving on down. The average man is either victorious or defeated, and depending on that, he becomes a persecutor or a victim. These two conditions are prevalent as long as one does not see. Seeing dispels the illusion of victory or defeat or suffering. So seeing is a very peculiar affair, and it does involve the eyes, but it involves more than the eyes. It involves the whole body. Seeing is a whole bodily perception. And when we learn to see energy as it flows in the universe, we see that everything is equal. There are no victors or losers. We are all perfectly complete, just as we are. And in that sense too, in the non-dual ultimate sense, in the ultimate context, the universal, there is no suffering. It is only the self-contracted awareness, the separate self-sense, the ego, the skin-bound ego, identified exclusively with the body-mind, that suffers. Anything that contracts suffers. I mean, there's a saying in the Upanishads, the ancient Vedic texts, where there is another, fear arises. But in the universal, nothing is separate. Therefore, there is no other. If there is no other, how can fear arise? A warrior knows that he is waiting and what he is waiting for, and while he waits he wants nothing, and thus whatever little thing he gets is more than he can take. If he needs to eat, he finds a way, because he is not hungry. If something hurts his body, he finds a way to stop it, because he is not in pain. To be hungry or in pain means that the man is not a warrior, and the forces of his hunger and pain will destroy him. So to get into the condition where you are hungry or in pain means that you're already out of balance. So, I mean, everybody gets hungry and everybody suffers pain, but I think the meaning here is more nuanced, more metaphorical, in that although these things arise, in a sense the warrior's prepared. If he needs to eat, he simply finds a way. He's not like led by his hunger and then indulges himself to the death because he overeats or something like that. And he doesn't allow himself to get into situations which are unfavourable. That will be a profound disadvantage, which ends up in him being injured or in pain, because he's entered into battle foolishly, without considering his surroundings, without considering the forces that oppose him. He knows what he's he knows that he's waiting and what he's waiting for, and what is a warrior waiting for? But freedom, the ultimate. And I think we'll wrap it up there. Thanks again for listening. Have a great day.